Hello, you all. It's me, Edward Jacob. For those of you who have subscribed to our channel, we really appreciate the fact that you are in support of our work here. We are doing our best to pass the knowledge that we pass to individuals physically here, and we want to see how many can also benefit from learning online and also benefiting from using computer on their own, at least to be able to do one or two things. So from our previous videos, we talked about some few things, text and text formatting. We saw how we can use text, how we can change font, increase size. Today we'll be going to something much more, a little more into text and how we can prepare our document. So today, from our topic, we'll be taking line spacing, paragraph spacing, alignment, and indentation. And during our class, we'll be seeing how we can work on a simple thing like a letter and see how we can put in everything from the previous class to also this class and see how we can utilize them and know how they can work. So without wasting much time, let's dig in. So I'll be switching back to my Microsoft Word, which I have prepared. I've saved it in my folder where I've been collecting all my documents for all the series of my videos. So I save it as line spacing, paragraph spacing, and indentation. But my topic here, I added a little thing, alignment. So without wasting much time, let's go in. So like I said, line spacing. Now what is line spacing? Let me bring in a little text that I had stored somewhere, and I'll use that as my key for the class. So hold on. Okay, I think I closed it. Okay, so let me just copy that. Let's just copy that and let's bring it here. Okay, so this is just a little text I had typed somewhere. Let me put that together. So let's just see how we can sum these two up together. So we have line spacing and paragraph spacing. So now line spacing is, we can just say line and space, but what does it mean? We can't say any line here though. There's no line here, so we can't say there's a line here, but we know there are spaces. Well, we know there are little spaces that's common. We hit our space bar in between all words here. And what then does the line spacing mean? Well, as working with Microsoft Word text, you see, every time we type, basically, if I say, let me just do my best to type what I have here, we realize that when my text here gets to the end of my page, that is, let me say, the right hand side of my page. Now you see I'm on the right hand side of my page, so if I'm to just type this, I'm not hitting enter, so please take note. If I'm to just type that, because it cannot contain that particular part or that one line in this particular case, it forces it down. So you see I'm still typing, I've not hit enter. It's a different case when I actually hit enter, but here I'm still typing and it is forcing it down to fit that new word. It cannot fit that line but fits on the next line. So that brings us to that idea. Text I have here I'll say I have one line, two line, three line. That is the entire text that contains one line when it gets from the left hand to the right indent. So whatever can fit into that part of the page from left to right serves as one line of text. So if here I'm having one line of text, so since it pushed it down, it pushes to the second line and the third line. So let's find out something. Let me come to this my status bar here and try to activate something. If I'm not mistaken, it should be line number. So line number. So here it's telling me I have let me use my mouse to indicate what I'm showing you. Yeah, if you can see that marking there, it's telling me I have 8 lines of text. So let's do a count. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, and this is 8. So right now I have 8 lines of text. So our line spacing, if we are using this one for today, is a space that's in between, say, this line and this line, or this line and this line. So those are the space in between those lines of text. So line spacing is simply, let me use this, line spacing is the space in between, let me put a hyphen here, lines of text. So that's our line spacing. So, but then let's just also add a paragraph spacing to it. So let me hit enter here and come down, and let me duplicate this one. We'll need that second copy later. So I'm Control C and Control V. So I have that. Now, what about paragraph spacing? Now, irrespective of the fact that I have an entire block of text here, some can say it's a paragraph. Yes, they are actually right. They're actually right. But there's a way Microsoft Word sees paragraph. Let me quickly hit on one small button here. If you see this particular tool, show or hide, that's where it is. It looks like a 9. It's a very funny 9. So when you hit that tool, it's going to set a marker. Now that marker is setting that marker to everywhere you have actually hit enter. That is the first one, the second, the third, the fourth. You see, every part where I hit enter, it sets a marker. So I've hit enter here too. So you see, now that signifies a complete paragraph. The end of that marker tells you that's the end of one complete paragraph. So let me take that off. So that is simply telling you that this entire block of text, I typed continuously until I hit enter at the end here where I have height. Same goes for this, it was duplicated, so it follows the same rule. Same goes with these two spaces. I hit enter twice, that's why I had two markers there. Let me bring that back. Then the same thing too, this is just one line of text, and the possibility of me hitting enter here is very high, except I choose to continue typing here, and that marker remains at the end. So now, what does that tell us? That simply tells us that a paragraph, okay, let me just write paragraph and let me explain first. So which means a paragraph spacing, let's just type it, let's just finish it, is the space at the top and bottom of a paragraph or block of text. Let's use a block of text. So what does that mean? Now you say line spacing is the space that is in between first and second line, so to say, and so on. Now for paragraph spacing, if this is an entire paragraph, they are referring to the top here, which is the top of the paragraph, and the bottom part of the paragraph. That is the space that is on top and the bottom. For this class, I have removed them for understanding purpose from this particular text I have here. So but then let's start with the line spacing. Now we can see the similarity between these two, so if there's a little changes we should know. Now line spacing option, how do you do it? Naturally you have that line spacing button here. The tool to change your line spacing is here. But then let me take you somewhere. If you notice this section here, paragraph, there's a little small box here. Hit that small box. Now that should pop this up for you, a little tab with the heading paragraph. Now we are working on line spacing. So the reason why mine is closed up, because like I said, I removed all the line spacing, so it returns it back to a single line space. So here I'll be changing that line spacing to something a little more obvious, so we've seen a few changes between this first one and the second one. So let's pick 1.5. You have that 1.5, you hit your OK. So now remember, we say the line spacing is the space in between lines of text. So now we had this and this the same before, right? So we see this is a single line spacing, while this is 1.5 line spacing. Now the space in between our lines of text has increased. It's even wider than the cursor mark. Oh, that's nice. So that's 1.5 line spacing. So we'll check there. Let's just use other line spacing just for fun. Let's go back there and let's pick, say, double line spacing. It's going to be a little wider. Double line spacing. So you see, so that shows you that you can really adjust your line spacing. So let's go back there and let's kick it off back to single, and let's hit OK. So you see it, that's single line spacing. Now, but for the part of the class we'll be taking today, we said we'll be working on a letter, right? So for that letter, we'll be using a particular custom line spacing. So let's go back there. Now, for me, when I want to customize my line spacing, there is one here that can actually allow you customize. That is the multiple line spacing. So here the multiple is at 3, that's 3 points, so to say. But then I will be adjusting my 3 point to something that I use a lot, that is not too wide and it's not too close. That is 1.15. You can explore other sizes since they are not on the default fixed sizes here on the line spacing, so you can explore that with the multiple. It allows you fetching a particular value of point that you wish to apply. So let's click on OK. So you see it, the space are increased a little, but it's not too jam-packed as this first one where they are closely packed together. So I have a little gap between them and it's a little moderate. So that goes for the line spacing. So we see that's how to change your line spacing. Now the paragraph spacing is also done from the same place. Now remember, we said paragraph spacing is that space that is on top and the bottom of a block of text or a full paragraph, so to say. Now how can we adjust the paragraph spacing? Let me copy this again and jump it down here. Okay, so remember the paragraph spacing are just from different places, right? So if you see, if I should highlight this whole text, you see the top here, look at this highlighting dark gray shaded part that shows that we have highlighted or selected our text. Now you see at the top there, there's like no gap. Don't worry, just pay attention to that. There is no gap here. The same thing with this one. I duplicated it so you still have the same setting. So let's start with this one. Let's go back to that part, the paragraph tab. Now the paragraph spacing is what you adjust from here. The spacing, we came here before for line spacing, we set to multiple, then we adjusted to 1.15 here. Now but here we are coming to this spacing. Here you have before and after. Now from our explanation, we said top and we said bottom. So that's at the top and the bottom, that's before and after. So before the paragraph and after the paragraph. So before the paragraph is referring to the space that is on top of that selected paragraph, while after the paragraph is referred to the space that is after the paragraph. So let's do a little adjustment. Let's say we add say after to 6 points. 6 points, which mostly is on default on some computers, and let's go 6 points. So now if you pay close attention, you will notice there's a little change here. Now since this paragraph and that one was the same, so we should be able to see the changes. So you see, look at the bottom part here, we adjusted the after to 6, and look at the changes here. You see there's no space here, but when you look at this one, you see it has added a little gap. Now why is this necessary? Let me do something. Now you see this, I have not added anything to it. Let me still copy it. Copy. Now I added the paragraph to this, right? So let me hit enter, and so by default, because of the setting I've done to add 6 points to after, you see it has a default space here which literally separates the first paragraph from the second one. Now let me do something. Now this one here has no setting. Let me come down, having a lot jam-packed here, but let's just come down for the purpose of those I don't understand. So let me hit paste, and this time I will not hit enter. I will not put a space there with my enter key. I'll just, so now look at how close they are from each other. Now there is no paragraph spacing before or after applied to any of this paragraph. No one will want this. Some can easily just do this and add space to it, but if you know you don't want to hit enter every time you hit enter, you should automatically set that space. You can choose to pick the after, or you set to before the previous one, but it's mostly common to pick to the after, so you set that. So you can choose to increase that. Let's increase it a little bit, say to say 8 to 8, so it will not be too wide. 8. So you see, so that gives you a default space as you type, a default space in between your first and the next paragraph. So That's for the paragraph spacing. Let's get these guys off, and no, I think we're going to use them. So that's for the line spacing and paragraph spacing. So then let's pick on something else. So yeah, now line spacing, paragraph spacing. Next is our alignment. So basically, from our previous videos, we talked about margins. We knew we have four margins, which is the left, the right, the top, and the bottom margins. Now those margins are literally creating, so to say, four borders around our page. So if I'm to hold this part of the ruler, the two indents here on top, the first line indent, in between the first line indent and the left margin, I hold it down, you see there's kind of like a line where everything, all text I have here are simply backing up on the left hand side of that line, so they are aligned to that line. Now let me come to the right hand side here. That's the shaded part between the white part of the ruler and the shaded part of the ruler, which signify the margin. I hold it down, you see none of them is literally touching. We'll get why. Now I'm just trying to point out something. Let's hold the top, we see there's a space on top. Let's come to the bottom part, we'll see there's also a space under. So what does that mean actually? So that's to tell us that there is actually an area in this our page where we can work on, where there will still be a space on the foreside because of the margin that is set to the page. Well, we have talked that. You can go to our previous video and you can see how we explained that too. So yes, now we are talking about alignment. Now basically the alignments are actually interested in two of the margins, which is the left margin and the right margin. Now what is the necessity of the alignment? So we have our four texts here, right? Let's say alignment. Something is telling me I've talked about this alignment before. Alignment. So now alignment is simply the arrangement, or let me not use alignment, arrangement of text or body of text along the margins of our page. So as simple as that. So what does this actually mean? Now it's simply helping us to do a little arrangement, making it look much more presentable. Now how can I do this? Let me try to trick this to be a complete paragraph. Let's just add this here, and let's add this full stop, and let's add this here. Let's assume I have a complete paragraph here, so let me copy this. I may need to paste it later. So now if you look at the right hand side here, you notice it's like some are short, some are long, because they are trying to force themselves, but because the next word, like take this next word even, cannot fit into this particular part, this space that's left before it touches the right margin, it has to force it down. So this is where alignment comes into place. So basically if you look up here in this paragraph section, you have four guys here. These are the four tools that work on our alignment. Now this is where we'll be picking our alignment. So remember, our alignments are actually arranging. Now if I remove my mouse there, you see one is selected, which is this one. Now judging by how they designed that thing, it's clear for those that don't really notice it, but when you notice it now, you see that it is telling you that text left side is straight. The whole left side of all the text will be straight. That is, align the left part of our text. So I've copied this now, so which means by default is left alignment, or some will say align left. All the same, understand it's an alignment, it's an alignment too. So this left alignment, so by default it is that. So let me just, I've copied that before, let's paste. So now let's see if we can add and apply the next one. The next one is the center alignment. Let me do something a little more fancy here. I'm applying the bold, and here too I'm applying the bold. So center alignment. So I'll be taking all but that and but this, and let's go for the next two, which is the center alignment. So now, what does this one do? This actually takes all our text, put them in the center. They are not really focused on aligning themselves on the left, neither are they focused on aligning themselves on the right. But when you look at the center on this page here, I think my 8 on the ruler is somewhat my center. I think my ruler is 16.5 for the white part. That's the work area I'm working on. So 8 point something something something. I'm not interested in that mass right now, but now it's simply taking the center of the page, making sure the space used from the center to the right and the space used from the center to the left is the same for any line of text, depending on how many words fit into one line. So that is where the center alignment comes in. So then let's go down again. I'm setting that to left so I can paste the next one. So the next one I'm pasting, I'm setting that to right alignment. Let me push that to the next page. I come to the beginning, I hold my control key and enter. That pushes to the next page. So I go for right alignment. For those of you who are with me, you should know that right now my right alignment is going to do the opposite of the left alignment, right? Yeah, that's true. So right alignment. So what will right alignment do? Now, since the left alignment is making sure all the text are aligned on the left hand side, the right alignment will do the opposite to make sure all the texts are aligned on the right hand side. So let's go for right alignment. So all texts are aligned on the right hand side. Now, if I take a note, left and right, the opposite. The same hand, left alignment, right alignment. Text aligned the left margin, text aligned on the right margin. And we notice the center is not picking the either left or right, but it's aligning it on the center as though there is a margin in the center, which there is not, though, just the center of the page. Now, for the last one, which is one of my favorites, let me be pasting that again. I've copied it. So that will be the last one on the list. That one is the justify alignment. Now, the question is, what would this do? Justify. Now, justify is simply making it equal. Equality. Justify. In this case, I'll be picking making an equality. Now, we have left margin, we have right margin. So justify will simply make sure that both the left side of the text, the right side of the text are all aligned with both the left and the right margin. So the justify alignment, that's the last one from that first set. So justify alignment. So justify alignment is simply combining the effect of the left alignment and the effect of the right alignment as one alignment. So on most cases, if we're having a text that has more volume of text in one section, so to say, or one paragraph, we may choose to use justify alignment so it's all balanced. Unlike this one at the beginning here, we noticed for a left alignment, if you have a full page of text and everything on the right hand side looks blah blah, in out in out in out, it doesn't really look presentable on many occasions. But when you're setting the justify alignment, you have something a little more sleek, so to say. Based on who looks at it, people will easily see the flaws in your text. So for text like this now, when you apply justify alignment, you can now add something we added from the previous class, which is the line spacing. I may choose to go and say use my multiple, and that's my 1.15, 1 point and 1 and 5, and I click on OK. So you see, voila. And if we add something from our previous class, which is remember our font, let's pick a somewhat more common font. Let's say Bookman Old Style. So you see, looking more moderate, looking more sleek. So then if I can increase my size a little to say size 12, depending on what I need, yeah, and there I go, and things are looking much more different compared to this. So you see, now those are your line spacing, paragraph spacing, and our alignment. Now let's try something else also. Now the last thing on talk is our indentation. Now remember, I was talking about the alignment, and before I was bringing my hand close to this ruler here, there's a first line indent, there's a left indent, and there's a right indent. Now, what does that help us to do? It helps us to understand what indentation is. Now, indentation in this case somewhat does not actually tamper with alignment. Now, indentation simply helps us to move our text in a way where it will not interfere with our own text. Now, judging by the dictionary, they will say it means indenting. So, like the surface of something to make it indented. I don't know what that means, but in this particular case, we are simply moving our text from left to right or from right to left of our page. But in this particular case, it has one key feature. It will not change the alignment. Now, I always use one particular idea to explain my indentation. Since we'll be using a letter in this our class for today, so we'll be using, say, an address. Let me say this is an address. Let me randomly put one. Let's just use something. This is not a real address, so don't go to your Google map and go and start looking for it. It doesn't exist. Yeah, so let's say this is an address. Let me just put a date. Let's say 20th of January 2024. That's today's date. So now I use indentation to do this. Now you see, basically, if we have an address like this, our address is mostly required to be at the right hand side, but still retaining the left alignment, right? Now, if I choose to use the right alignment, it changes that idea. From school, they call when the address has that left alignment, it's called a block form of letter. So in that case, our indentation comes into place. Now there are two indentations. Remember I said it moves the block of text to the right or left of our page and without changing its alignment. So let's try that. Now the first one here is to decrease the indentation, which is to move it to the left. That is, move your paragraph closer to the left margin. Then the right one indentation is to move it to the right, so which means closer to the right margin. So that's the one we're going to use. So if I keep hitting it, you get that? Yeah, I've done it too much. So I go back to the decreasing length and I hit, yes, we're balanced. So that does that. Let me see. Okay, so indentation is simply moving my text to the left and right of my page without changing its alignment. So if you notice, my alignment still remains the same, left margin. Now the shortcut for indentation is if I'm going to go back, some people will use Shift Tab, it still works. Control Shift M will still work. Use Tab, goes forward. If you use Shift Tab, it still works. So whichever I use, either I use Control and your Shift and M, or Tab. No, what am I saying? Control M brings it forward. Control Shift M brings it backward. Tab brings it forward. Shift Tab brings it backward. Whichever you can remember. But notice that it is here on your home ribbon. This is the increase indent and this is the decrease indent. So in case you can't find that and you can remember the shortcuts, many people are good at holding shortcuts in their head. I'm not good at it, but I try to know where they are. I try to know where those tools are. So that talks about our indentation. So indentation can also work in another way. Let me see. Let me just borrow a little body of text here. Sometimes we might find some text in some articles we read, and they are somewhat in the middle of the page. Let's paste this. Now let's say it's a quoted text. Yes, it's a quoted text in the middle of a page. Let's say there's another content here. So now let me highlight this particular text. So now see one thing indentation can do. I can choose to move this to 4. Then now look at this right indent. Now I can then move this to, let's say, if I'm going further, I can go here, aha, to something like this. Then say maybe italic. So many of you have seen something like this. So your indentation can help you do that. Only you have to do the right one manually, but the left one you can do with your indentation. So that simply is taking your left indent and right indent and moving them in from where originally they are on the margins. If you notice, I pasted the text down here so that when I do this, it doesn't affect this, because whatever I do from here now retains that margin adjustment I've done. So that takes that for our topics for today: line spacing, paragraph spacing, alignment, and indentation. So for task for today, your task will be to write a letter. Write a letter. Write a letter with an address positioned on the right hand of your page with left alignment. Let's push this down. I don't want it jumping off my screen. Control Enter. Then the next task will be to use a reasonable line spacing and paragraph graph spacing. So that's the task. Very simple. So you can pause the video and do your tasks, and whatever challenge you have, you can comment and ask for assistance, and I'll be very happy to do that. So thank you all very much for joining my video for today. So that's the end of our class for today, which contains line spacing, paragraph spacing, alignment, and indentation. Once again, my name is Edward Jacob. Thank you for joining our video for today. Please hit the like button. You can share with your friends, and please continue to subscribe for more videos like this, and hit the bell icon there, so whenever we have more videos uploaded, you can always have the notification, so you can keep joining our videos. And